Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. I haven't seen this watch in a while. In fact, not since my first Basel World in 2016. Back then, Serge and Claude, the two folks who run Armin Strom, were showing me concept art of a character called Mr. Edge, which was a sort of futuristic robot with maybe some steampunk or diesel punk elements. This watch took inspiration from that concept art, and this is the Armin Strom Edge double barrel. So it's a big watch in DLC stainless steel. It's rated at 46.8 millimeters, and I confirmed that by measuring the outer edge of the bezel from side to side. It's maybe not as thick as you would think, at 13.7 millimeters thick. Then if you measure it lug to lug across the wrist, it is a 55 millimeter span, and then it has a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. The watch is substantial, in other words, and yet somehow it does fit securely. But I think you need a wrist of 17 centimeters circumference to wear this watch well. I really do think that those lugs are just out over the edge of my wrist, and aesthetically that's a no-go for me. But again, not as thick as you might think. It will fit underneath a jacket cuff if you have a wrist big enough to wear the watch in the first place. The strap is rubber and largely integrated. You can see it uses a curved spring bar. It actually pulls fairly well out of the lugs. A lot of times these straps that are pressed right up against a case flank will flare and fight you and do something like this, whereas these, you can pull them straight down, so ergonomically they get good marks from me. The strap is a sort of matte finish, and so it's largely anti-reflective, unadorned, fairly featureless, designed to draw attention to the watch itself. The buckle, as you could see, is likewise DLC black steel. Internally, it features ceramic pin snaps, so over time, it will remain snappy, and the steel will not be able to aggress against the ceramic, so that will not wear down. You can hear that the tolerance remains crisp. We have a twin trigger release system, which I actually love because this is a large, heavy, and valuable watch. You can also see the maker's mark of Brogioli, an Italian-Swiss company that makes a lot of clasps and bracelets. And this system, although made by Brogioli, is custom for Armin Strom. It's a twin trigger release, so you have to press both triggers for it to open. It will not open of its own accord. There's the Armin Strom logo. You'll see it again on the inside of the strap. And then we roll to the case. The watch features two barrels, and they're on the dial side. All the action is up front. Claude Griesler, who designs these watches, he's the lead watchmaker and engineer, he expressed to me at the time that the Lamborghini Aventador was one of his favorite cars, and that the ratchet wheels atop these barrels are actually inspired by the spokes of the Aventador wheels. It's a push-down crown. The watch is 50 meters water resistant. There's a little chin structure at the base of the dial, and almost every Armin Strom watch has this. And the idea there is that if you want to customize it, add a family crest, maybe some initials or a year, you can add it on that little chin to customize. There is a serration about the brushed and polished bezel. You could see it's almost like a Roger Dubuis Excalibur in that regard. The top is brushed. You could see the outer edge has been polished, and then the case flank is slightly evacuated. It's media blasted, and then we have polished bevels just like the bezel itself. Again, 50 meters water resistant. Taking a look at the dial side, there is lume. We're going to take a look at that lume now so you can see how well the watch is able to express the time in the dark. There's a lot of lume concentrated in very few places. The hands are luminescent, the rest is not. Now the double barrels endow this watch with both a very even torque release from max wind to minimum wind. They are in series and phased, so you don't have a huge amount of time gained when it's highly wound, and you don't start losing a lot of time as it runs down. That's the advantage of two barrels, that and the 8-day power reserve. Now taking a quick look, we have a coaxial power reserve indicator and running seconds display. When I pull the crown out, you can see the watch has a visible motion works, and so you could see the intermediate wheels that drive the minute wheel. The minute wheel's pinion turns the hour wheel, and then below that, there is the cannon pinion on which the minute hand is mounted. We'll take a look as I wind the watch. You could see those barrels turn, and also note the finish. The ratchet wheels are satinated across their top, but they're internally beveled, which is deeply impressive. You'll also note there's a distinctive industrial finish across the surface of all bridges, but the finish is high horology as the edge of those bridges have been rounded and mirror beveled manually. A gorgeous look. All wheels are satinated across their top. All screw heads are black polished with chamfered slots in circumference, and where bridges are located on the base plate using pins, those pins have been polished on their heads. You could also see that the barrel caps feature solarization and notes about the Swiss origins of the watch, and it is Swiss made. We have a sort of concentric pattern on off-centered hour track, and then the hands themselves are a hybrid of baton and syringe design. Flip it all over. You can see how big this movement is. It's designed to fill a large case. The movement is 36.6 millimeters in diameter. And on the reverse side, you can better see that chaotic industrial finish that's been applied. The watch, which came out in 2016, is a limited edition. This one is lucky 13 out of 100 made. You can see the plate itself beveled on its side, satin on its top. And here on the back, you can really see to good effect just how high quality those bevels are. You can also see that the jewel sinks have been internally beveled, which is a great look. We have twin barrels. We have 32 pivot jewels, 5 position adjustment, just like a chronometer. You could see the back side of the barrels, which have been gorgeously solarized. And then we also have this little differential gear, which allows the combination of the two barrels to be depicted by a single power reserve indicator. We have a sports watch style architecture for the balance, which has a double anchored bridge and then a free sprung architecture with all the adjustment done using variable inertia bolts on the rim of the balance. This allows very precise adjustment in that chronometer style 5 positions, but also great shock resistance. And if you look carefully, you can see that the hairspring is an overcoil, so the watch will keep consistent time in any physical position with respect to gravity. This watch, coming from an intriguing independent run by real watch enthusiasts. It's big, there's no doubt about that, but the quality of what you get is on par with some of the best in the industry. And of course, this is their own movement. This is the Armin Strom caliber 16 with that incredible 192-hour power reserve. A lovely watch, a distinctive one, unlikely to be mistaken for anything. With the comparables, frankly, something along the lines of a Richard Mille or a Roger Dubuis, and you'll pay a lot more for those and possibly get a lot less. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.